So what's the real difference between looking good and actually being good? Today we're going to dive into a really powerful piece of ancient rhetoric that just relentlessly pulls that question apart. It's a text that builds and builds into this incredible critique of leadership, hypocrisy, and that dangerous gap between who we pretend to be and who we really are. Let's get right into it. Right out of the gate, the central problem is just laid right on the table. This one sentence. This is the foundation for everything else that's coming. It's a straight-up accusation, drawing a clear line in the sand between words and actions. And it hooks you immediately because, let's be honest, we all recognize this problem, right? The failure to live up to your own standards. So the text starts, interestingly enough, not by attacking the teachings themselves, but with a warning about behavior. It's making it crystal clear that the issue here is this huge disconnect between how things look on the surface and what's actually happening behind the scenes.
And look at this sharp contrast here. On one hand, their authority is actually acknowledged. They sit in Moses' seat, So what they teach should be respected. But then you look at what they do, and it's a completely different story. They pile up these heavy, difficult burdens for other people to carry, but they themselves are not willing to lift a finger to move them. This just perfectly captures the essence of hypocrisy, demanding a standard from everyone else that you have no intention of meeting yourself. The text then gives us this whole laundry list of specific examples, and you'll notice a theme here. It's all a performance. Everything is designed for an audience. They made their phylacteries, these little boxes with scripture inside, extra wide. They made the tassels on their clothes extra long. And why? Well, these were all outward signs of piety, but they were exaggerated for public consumption. The goal wasn't genuine devotion. It was about getting the best seats at dinner, getting those respectful greetings in the town square. It was all about the optics. Okay, so we've had the warning. Now the critique just escalates dramatically. We shift gears from a general caution into a formal, structured, and absolutely devastating series of accusations known as the 7 Woes. The tone is no longer cautionary. It's a direct indictment, and it's about to build its case piece by piece. 7. Now, why this number? In this kind of ancient literature, 7 isn't just a random number. It often represents a kind of divine completeness or perfection. So when it's used here, it's not just a list of 7 complaints. It implies a total, comprehensive, and absolutely damning judgment, a complete and perfect catalog of their failures.
And before we go any further, it is so important to understand what woe actually means in this context. It's not just a simple curse, like too bad for you. It's much heavier than that. It's a formal declaration that combines judgment with this deep sense of sorrow. It's a lament for a destructive path that has been chosen and the tragic, unavoidable outcome that it leads to.
The first woe we're going to look at gets right to the heart of their messed up priorities. The charge is basically this. In your obsession with all the tiny little details of the rules, you've completely missed the entire point of the law in the first place. And the text uses this incredible, almost comical metaphor to make its point. Look at this. They are so obsessed with minor rules, it's like they're meticulously straining a tiny little gnat out of their drink. But while they're doing that, they're so distracted, they end up swallowing a whole camel without even noticing. It's absurd, and that's the point. This obsession with the trivial leads them to completely ignore the things that actually matter, what the text calls the heavier matters of the law: justice, mercy, and faithfulness. Okay, this next woe introduces what is probably the most powerful theme in the entire passage, this stark, jarring contrast between the shiny external image and the ugly internal reality. And it starts with a simple analogy of a dirty dish. The critique takes that simple image and expands it into something truly devastating. It starts by acknowledging their success, right? On the outside, to everyone watching, you look perfect. You appear righteous. Your public image is absolutely flawless. And then comes the reveal. You are like whitewashed tombs, beautiful, clean, pristine on the outside, but inside they're full of death and decay. The point here is that this isn't just a minor flaw we're talking about. It's a fundamental corruption. That beautiful exterior is just a mask hiding an interior that's filled with hypocrisy and wickedness. It is one of the most searing images of moral failure you will ever read. So after this series of just brutal indictments, the tone of the text shifts one last time. It moves from anger and judgment to sorrow. The focus is now on the tragic consequences that always come from this kind of failed, hollow leadership. This is a lament. You can just feel the sadness. The image of a hen desperately wanting to gather her little chicks under her wings is one of profound care and protection. But
That protection is rejected. The text frames the outcome not as some random punishment coming from the outside, but as the direct result of their own unwillingness to be guided.
And this is the stark, final result. The consequence of choosing performance over substance, of choosing hypocrisy over authenticity, is, at the end of the day, emptiness, desolation, a house left abandoned.
So what's the solution? What's the antidote to all of this? To find it, we have to circle all the way back to a principle stated near the beginning of the text. This one sentence counters every single problem we've just looked at. That desire to be exalted, to be praised, to get the best seat, that was the root of all the hypocrisy. And the text proposes the exact opposite: humility and service. That's the real path to honor.
And so this ancient critique leaves us with a question that is just as sharp and relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. It really forces us to look around and to look inward and ask, what really is the difference between a carefully built outward appearance of righteousness and true inner integrity? And more importantly, which one are we pursuing?